Welcome back, everyone. Today's explainer is looking at a match that is absolutely going to be talked about for generations. We're deconstructing the 2026 World Cup Final, Spain's incredibly dramatic and historically significant victory over Argentina. Whether you were glued to the screen for every single minute of the tournament or you just caught the highlights the next day, we're going to break down exactly how this title was won and lost by digging into the underlying data.
Okay, let's dive right into this and lay out a roadmap. First up, crowned in New Jersey. 2, tactical dominance vises grit. 3, the turning point. 4, golden boot and golden boys. And finally, number 5, tears and the aftermath.
So, as we go through this, I want you to keep one central question in the back of your mind. How did Spain actually dismantle the reigning world champions? I mean, Argentina was the title holder, packed with seasoned veterans who know how to win, yet they were completely undone. Let's find out how.
Section 1. Crowned in New Jersey. The spectacle at MetLife.
The headline here is that Spain claimed a grueling 1-0 extra-time victory over Argentina. Under the bright lights of MetLife Stadium, these two footballing giants just battled to a total standstill in normal time. It was an absolute grind, but La Roja ultimately ended Argentina's hopes of defending their 2022 title and secured their second-ever World Cup trophy.
Moving to Section 2. Tactical dominance versus grit, a clash of ideologies.
The contrasting styles we saw in this final couldn't have been starker. It was literally a clash of ideologies. Spain brought this incredible youthful energy, totally relying on a patient, process-driven passing game. Argentina, on the other hand, fielded a much older squad. They relied heavily on rugged physicality, tactical fouls to chop up the pace, and, well, they leaned desperately on their captain, Lionel Messi, hoping for a moment of magic.
To really grasp how big of a mismatch this was, we need to talk about expected goals, or XG. If you aren't familiar, this is a statistical measure of the quality of goal-scoring chances and the actual likelihood of them being scored. It doesn't just tell us who shot the ball. It tells us who was creating realistic, threatening opportunities.
Now, what's really interesting about this data is the sheer disparity. It's staggering. Spain generated an XG of 1.94, while Argentina generated a miserable 0.20. Argentina managed only 2 shots in the entire contest, and neither was even on target. It just proves Spain's sheer attacking dominance over an entirely toothless Argentina side.
And how did they do it? Well, Spain limited Argentina so effectively simply by keeping the ball away from them. Holding 65% of the possession, Spain practically suffocated their opponents. They forced Argentina to spend long, exhausting stretches of the game defending deep inside their own half.
Just look at these passing numbers. Spain completed an incredible 852 passes at a 99% accuracy rate, compared to Argentina's 358. But you know what the most damning detail is? Spain completed 417 passes in Argentina's half, while Argentina managed to mirror 120 on the other end. Spain dictated the rhythm, the location, and the tempo of the entire final.
Which brings us to Section 3, the turning point, breaking the resistance. 12, that is an absolutely massive number. That's the heroic number of saves made by Argentina's goalkeeper Emiliano Martínez. He produced an outstanding performance just to delay the inevitable, including a brilliant stop against a Lamine Yamal free kick. Martínez was keeping Argentina alive almost single-handedly.
But a dam can only hold back so much water, and the pressure had to mount. In the 93rd minute, the dam broke. Enzo Fernández received a red card for his second booking. Down to 10 men, Argentina's desperate survival tactics totally crumbled. That direct advantage paved the way for Ferran Torres' definitive goal in the 106th minute, which resulted in Spain being crowned champions at the 120-minute mark.
And that definitive goal? It was a masterclass in utilizing substitutes by Spanish manager Luis de la Fuente. It's a precise 3-step sequence. It starts with Pedro Porro sending in a deep right-wing cross. Next, Nico Williams brilliantly beats Molina to pull the ball back into the danger zone. And finally, that allows yet another substitute, Ferran Torres, to connect and score the goal that won the World Cup.
All right, Section 4, Golden Boot and Golden Boys. Individual triumphs and struggles.
Zooming out to the wider tournament context, the top scorers presented a fascinating contrast. France's Kylian Mbappé took home the Golden Boot with a historic 10 goals, officially making him the all-time tournament record holder with 22 overall.
Contrast that with Messi, who finished with a highly respectable 8 goals, but alarmingly, he went completely scoreless in his final 3 matches.
So, why the drought for Messi in the biggest game of the year? Honestly, it comes down to Spain's defensive masterclass. They strategically cut off all the supply lines to the 39-year-old. They deployed this incredibly intense, coordinated pressing system that simply gave him no room to breathe. They completely nullified a space, which left the legendary forward as a frustrated passenger for the final.
Finally, Section 5. Tears and the Aftermath, the Human Element.
You know, the stats only tell half the story. We have to look at the human element. First, you have the sheer joy of the victors. Match winner Ferran Torres captured the mood of this youthful Spanish side perfectly when he said, "It was destined to happen, it was meant to be a winner." And this wasn't arrogance, right? It was just this immense, unshakable belief in their philosophy.
But contrast that soaring joy immediately with the absolute heartbreak of Argentina's manager Lionel Scaloni. He broke down in tears during his press conference saying, "Bear with me, I don't know if I can continue. It's really painful." Scaloni casts serious doubt on his future there, fully acknowledging the massive mental reset that's going to be required to rebuild an aging, defeated squad.
Of course, an event of this magnitude naturally draws the eyes of the entire world, and the off-pitch spectacle was a huge part of the story. Former U.S. President Donald Trump and FIFA President Gianni Infantino were notably booed by the crowd prior to the trophy lift. Additionally, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu publicly voiced his support for Argentina before the match. That remark drew vocal criticism from Palestinian football fans in attendance, which really just highlights the complex, highly political global stage of the World Cup.
Let's move to and see how this builds into the future. The 2026 World Cup is officially in the books, but 2030 is already shaping up to be wildly ambitious. It's going to be a 6-nation centenary tournament spanning 3 continents, South America, Europe, and Africa. It's a completely unique, sprawling format meant to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the tournament.
Which leaves us with this final thought. With Spain ushering in a brilliant new generation and Argentina facing the twilight of the Messi era, the landscape of international football is shifting right beneath our feet. As we look to 2030, who will rise to claim the next era of football? I genuinely can't wait to find out. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you next time.